Hello, hello, welcome back, Weekly Energy Report. So this week's a little bit interesting. We are experiencing, adults are experiencing this a lot, and kids it's just a little bit on overload because they are just so sensitive. But the veil, so to speak, this would be the kind of like barrier between like spirit, ethereal, metaphysical world, and then like this barrier to the 3D human realm is very, very thin right now. That's why dreams are ridiculous. That's why people can't sleep. That's why they're being visited. That's why the energies are funky, like your animals, like everything is really stirring up. We see this like as the frequency rises, as we have ascension symptoms, whatever you want to say. But either way, the veil is very, very thin. We normally have a good barrier, we normally have a thicker barrier, and it's very thin. So we're seeing a lot of these kids kind of act out. They don't really know what they're experiencing, and they don't know what to do with that information. So message number one is very much so about like this child who is seeing things, experiencing things. They are not sleeping well. They're overly emotional. I've had probably like 3 or 4 people reach out to me, whether it be by text or messages, whatever it is, about like their kids and that they're just emotionally over the top and they don't know what's going on. And I'll kind of just like briefly tap into it, and they are like, the veil is so thin, the veil is so thin, we can see so much, we don't know what to do with it. And these kiddos are kind of hopping into 2 different camps. So this is all still message number one, but the kiddo, like they're all seeing things in the first like group inside message number one. They are afraid of what they're seeing. So they don't understand it. They don't know what to do with the information. They don't know what to do with the emotions. They're not even their emotions. They're kind of like, maybe just it's too much for them and they don't know what to do with it. They don't have a way to ground out. So grounding is really important right now. Emotional expression is very important right now. But they're kind of like afraid of it. So it's happening, they're seeing things and they don't know what to do with it. The second group, and this is across all ages, but the second group very much so knows what's going on. They're not afraid of it, but what they are afraid of is to tell you. So they don't want you to be freaked out. They don't want to freak out their siblings. They don't want to be viewed as crazy. So they're kind of like keeping this little information hidden over here. But either way, all of message number one is the kids who are very, very sensitive to this thin veil and are aware of the threshold being crossed and of seeing things and being visited. And it's not always bad. It's not always bad visitors. It just can be a little disruptive when we maybe don't have parameters set in there. So something for you to do, one, get them grounded, give them protection. White Angelica from Young Living is fantastic. Like, it is so good. I'll drop a link to that. Probably, I don't know, it's on my page. You can find my Young Living ones, but White Angelica, you can make a whole spray, you can mist it, you can diffuse it at night. It's so spiritually protecting. And then another thing to do with these kiddos, specifically the one who's afraid to tell you, it's like opening that door that they can tell you. And the other one who's afraid of it, like knowing that they can set the parameters for when they are like visited. So we always have free will. This is like the biggest lesson that we can teach our kids is we always have free will, especially in regards to the spirit realm. Like they cannot access you, they cannot take you, they cannot visit you if you don't give your authority to them to do so. So it's like really, really, really bringing that back in, your divine sovereignty, like all of that. We get to teach these kids that, and they get it actually when you start to kind of practice with them or give them different techniques. You can envision a bubble around them when they sleep. You can help clear their energy. There's a few different ways, but just give them something, get creative, try a few different things and see if that works and kind of touch back in with them. The one that's afraid of you, like still give them those techniques and just see like what shifts for them. And if they're open, like, hey, like you can tell me, I don't understand, like always knowing that you don't understand what they're going through. And first coming out with that, I don't understand what's going on, but I'm here to support you in some sort of way. And then you go with there and see if they open up if they want to, but otherwise know that they can come to you with no questions asked. Like give them that space. Message number 2. So it's funny, this kiddo if they're presenting like kind of like the bottomless pit. So they're eating everything. They like won't stop, can't stop. They're super high revved and they're trying to eat away their feelings and they're like absorbing feelings from others. So they're highly empathetic and they're just taking on, which is why they're like, we're just consuming. Maybe they're drinking more water than usual. Maybe they're having snacks. We're also in a holiday weekend in the States. So like there's that factor, but it would be like, this is going to be all week that you'll see it. So there'll kind of be this burn off. What I see is like this overtick. They've got a ton of emotions hanging out. Not all of them are theirs. They're clinging onto it, taking it. And what's taking advantage are like the bugs in their body. Now, I will say, we all have bugs. They are a very specific and beneficial component to our immune systems, to our bodies, to like there's a whole ecosystem, and there's a balance within it. So like bugs are good. They are. And when there's an imbalance, the bugs can take over and grow to a non-helpful degree, and they can pleomorph inside of toxin. There's so many different things. However, so when I say this, you don't need to be scared that there are bugs in their body. They're there anyways, but they are advantageous of this like emotional suppression and overload that's happening. And then the bugs are stirring up. So you're going to see like some stomach stuff. They might say the tummy hurts. You might see a little rash, or like their eczema patch that you had super well managed is kind of going away. What there is for you to do with this is to really like, we're not going to touch the bugs necessarily. If you're working with a practitioner, if you're working with me, we can get to like supporting the bugs and like keeping the noise down. But what's really feeding these buggies is the emotional overload, onslaught in that. So again, we're going to kind of go to message number 1 inside that like protective bubbling and allowing that emotion to just come out and be felt, be expressed, be like ridden, so it's almost like, I think it's something in my teeth, sorry. But I think it's like having a dance party, having like a big pillow fight, like something that they can physically just get all of this stuff out of them. And this would be at least once a day, probably for the next like 5 days, that this will be the way that they get this expression off. And so if they start to present with that tummy ache, it sounds a little counterintuitive, but like have them do a dance party and see if that tummy ache goes away. And of course, give the filter that like we just had a holiday weekend. Did they eat a bunch of garbage that they weren't supposed to? Again, feeding the bugs, right? Like there's that conversation, and you'll start to see like the emotional spin out, and trust your instincts. If you feel like it's more than just something with their stomach, it probably is this emotional overload that they're feeling. Again, this is because the veil is thin. They're not exactly seeing and experiencing people or visitors or entities or energies like that, but they're definitely picking up on the collective like blah, 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 buzzing that's happening. So good luck, have fun. Happy 4th of July to everyone in the States. Happy Canada Day for everyone up there in Canada. You guys celebrated that this weekend, I believe, and anywhere else in the world. Like, just have a wonderful day, wonderful start of the week, and let me know what is helpful to you in the comments. If you need help, if you want me to do more content on like spiritual protection, I kind of hear that I need to, so I probably just will anyways. Probably later this week, we'll just see. But either way, I will get that out there. But let me know if you need some help right away. Like, just pop me a DM, drop it in the comments. Like, we got this, like we can do this. And don't be afraid that the veil is thin, and don't be afraid that there are bugs in the body. It's okay. It's an integral part of being human. So have a great week.